Hey everybody, welcome back to this week in pro wrestling. And wow, we got another week of
Just
WWE.
craziness. It's been
Exactly.
nonstop craziness in
I
this
agree.
industry
I
for
agree,
the
but
this last month.
I agree, but I'm Mike Sandoval, your host. Jeffrey, please introduce yourself.
Once again, it is the J to the E to the double F -ree. I am Jeffrey Harris, and welcome back to This Week in Wrestling. And what a week it has been. And I don't even think we're done yet, just with all this
I really don't.
insanity. What is going on in this business, man?
I really do not know. I do not have a clue. I don't know how to go about this.
In case you don't know what we're talking about, WWW does WWE even have a roster left? By next week, they might not even have, like, Roman Reigns might be the only guy on SmackDown at this rate.
And that would be interesting, him and fighting himself. But
Listen to me, Mike. Look, you can still be the head of the table if you're the only guy at the table.
That is true. But go over, give the people a little bit of insight of what happened yesterday.
So basically, we were all just blindsided because, WWE, they've been cutting staff, office staff. They cut more members of the roster. They've been cut. I mean, in April, the cuts started basically. We lost Samoa Joe, the Iconics. And then from there, the cuts have just gradually snowballed into an avalanche, really. And now, let's see, Braun Strowman is no longer in WWE. So they released this week, yesterday, June 2nd. This is official. WWE actually announced these names. Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Lana, Ruby Riott of the Riot Squad, Murphy, also known as Buddy Murphy, and Santana Garrett. They're gonzo out. They're OUT out of WWE. So they are no longer WWE superstars. Braun Strowman last year co-main evented WrestleMania against Goldberg and won the Universal title. He was Universal Champion the whole summer, basically, until Roman Reigns came back and Roman Reigns won the title at SummerSlam, right?
Yeah.
So what is going on, Mike?
I really don't know. There's a couple names that I'm not shocked about. I'm not shocked about Lana. That one I knew was if there was going to be another round of people getting let go, that she was probably going to be on it. The Ruby Riott situation was one that was I'm not shocked either, because they haven't used her well, and they haven't used her a lot, especially since it was the Riot Squad and there's only 2 members of the Riot Squad now. Now there's only one.
Now there's only one. She's not named Ruby Riott.
Exactly.
So it's more like the Morgan. What is it? The Morgan Squad?
I don't know. But Braun Strowman shocked me.
Braun Strowman was main eventing.
He was
up until now.
Yeah, he was in the middle of the championship picture with McIntyre and Lashley. I don't know what it is, but that shocked me. That really did shock me.
Yeah, he was in the triple threat match at WrestleMania Backlash. So here is the word on why. This is the rumor why Braun Strowman was released. So apparently, when he re-upped, sort of before the pandemic, he signed a new contract. And this is when, like, do you remember that period where WWE was refusing to release anyone because AEW was gearing up and they wanted to keep people away from AEW, basically?
Mm-hmm.
So he re-upped when he was renegotiating that time, and he was rumored to have re-upped for $1 million a year downside. Basically, what that means is he was guaranteed to make $1 million a year for WWE. Extras would be merchandising, merchandise sales, I guess, pay-per-view bonuses, if they still have those, or whatever extra bonuses he gets from his job. So that's like merchandise, maybe live gates when they were still doing house shows. So apparently his contract was so big, WWE decided they couldn't pay him anymore at $1 million a year. And they offload. So I guess they're offloading these huge big money contracts. Now, do you believe that explanation?
I can because of what they told Aleister Black, but just so everybody know on the podcast portion of this thing, we do take
Okay.
fan people who are watching watching us on YouTube, and we take their comments. And one actually is a good one. Bunda 713. I'm not shocked by the Braun Strowman release. WWE had no idea what to do with him.
Thank you, Bunda.
I think I agree with him. I really do agree with him. I don't think they knew what to do with him. The money thing was a big factor,
Okay.
and I think there's a lot of issues behind it. And with Aleister Black, like I was mentioning, Aleister Black went on Twitch yesterday
Right. I saw that.
on Trinity on what's Trinity was her real
Thea
name?
Trinidad,
Yeah,
Zelina
yeah,
Vega, his
Thea
wife,
Trinidad.
his wife.
And literally said that they told him directly that it was budget cuts.
Do you believe that?
I'm starting to think there is. Because they can't be
Because
doing as well in the ratings because Raw is not doing well. And they haven't
Raw
gone
did
out.
Raw. We'll get to that later, but Raw
Yeah.
did terribly this week.
Yeah, I think there is something to it. And now it's bringing up speculation of the fact that maybe, and it's not, I didn't just hear it from Jeffrey, I've heard it from other people, that then maybe he's gearing up, Vince McMahon is gearing up to sell WWE.
This is not official.
Yeah.
People are speculating, like the experts are speculating. We don't know for certain that they are selling the company, but people are talking about, is the reason Vince McMahon is cutting all these like big money, big superstars, is he trying to offload some of these big money contracts in order to sell the company to, for example, a big corporate owner like NBC Universal, Comcast, what have you? Do you think so? Do you think there is smoke to that fire, or
I
what have
think
you?
there is. I find it interesting that their stock prices were dropping
Okay.
and they had some issues and now they're going up again. They're at 56.77 a share now. So it's interesting to see that.
If people know something we don't, isn't that insider trading?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Let me read out what Bunda's comment
Okay,
was
let's see.
about this because I really like to hear his comment. Well, they
Okay.
know what to do. The fans want to cheer Strowman as a big bad ass. We will say it how it is. Dude, but for some reason WWE doesn't want to do that. By the way, I thought something was fishy when he didn't win Rumble. That's a
I mean, I don't
It's
know
a good
about
point.
that.
Well, but it also does make a good point in a lot of things because
Okay.
I really like when they put him against McMahon. I really didn't think that there was anything like I don't know. It just seemed kind of like a throwaway.
Okay, so just to talk a little bit more about the sale rumors, Dave Schilling, who's a former WWE writer, he tweeted, I think WWE is for sale. You don't cut talent assets on this level unless you are trying to maximize profits before a sale. Braun is a legit top guy, a former world champion, and a merchandise mover. Aleister Black was getting a push on TV last week. This is very telling.
Yeah.
So there aren't any official reports saying WWE is for sale. Or there are no reports saying the company is for sale. It's more like people are speculating they are for sale because you know some of these people they're cutting, like you're not surprised. But Braun Strowman, who up until a few weeks ago was in the world title picture, it doesn't make sense unless something like this is happening.
And that's a good question that Bunda brings up is, and I believe this is true. Didn't Steph and Shane sell their stock a couple years ago? I don't think they sold everything. I think they sold a portion, but they didn't sell everything.
Vince sold a lot of stock a little while ago,
Yeah.
but I think that had to do with some of the XFL bankruptcy, maybe.
Hmm. Yeah, I believe it did.
But there, I mean, I got to tell you, covering wrestling, there's always stories coming up. Vince, Stephanie, Triple H sold this and this much stock. That's been routinely happening for a while. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if that has anything to do with it.
I think it in the bigger picture, it could be used to pay down
Okay.
debt, but at a whole, like if the company sells a stock, it'll be to pay down debt. But as of this right now, it seems fishy to me. There's something going on.
Okay. So this came from Dave Meltzer today on Wrestling Observer Radio. He's saying Vince didn't have anything for Strowman creatively, which I mean, really? I mean, maybe Strowman was not as active right after Backlash, but he was comfortably in there right until Backlash, which was Backlash. When was it? Let's see.
Backlash was what, 2 weeks
Was
ago?
less than 3 weeks ago. How can he have any? How can you have nothing for a guy who was in the world title main event picture less than 3 weeks ago? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I say Dave Meltzer putting that out. To me, it sounds like BS. To me, it didn't
Now,
sound like
now, now,
BS.
Dave Mel. Now, all right. To credit Dave Mel. All right. To give some credit to Dave Meltzer, he did say it might have been his high value contract. So people are saying, people are reporting that Braun had like a huge contract when he re-upped the last time, and they don't want to have these really just huge, big money contracts. So here, okay, so let's go to Aleister Black, since that's another. Aleister Black, if you had told me he was getting released like 6 months ago, that would not have surprised me because he
Yeah,
wasn't even getting. His wife just got released. His wife just got fired because she had problems with the third party ban, and she was doing OnlyFans and all that, and she was trying to do money um, outside of WWE. Had he been fired when he was not getting booked and his wife just got fired, I would not have been surprised. But they just brought him back on TV. They were doing those vignettes, and then he attacked Big E, and it looked like he was going to get into a feud with Big E.
yeah.
So, can you really tell me there was nothing creatively for Big E? Excuse me, for
Aleister,
Aleister when he was feuding with Big E right now.
yeah.
So
I
that makes no sense. If you're firing Aleister Black for that reason, it doesn't make sense.
mm-mm. And he even talked about it in the when he went on his Twitch when he went on Twitch yesterday.
Okay.
He talked about it. He was saying like he thought like Vince McMahon. He was saying that Vince McMahon loved the ideas, was working with him, loved the way he works, loved the way the ideas were going, and how to go through that cultist type of genre that he was trying to get into in that character to make him a
Okay.
heel. And he was saying how positive it was for him putting this character together and how much they liked it. So he was a little. You could tell in his voice that he was shocked that he
Okay. I
thumbs up.
think he also said he thinks he was hurt by the 7 months away.
Yeah.
He thinks that killed him.
Hmm.
Didn't he say that on the Twitch
Yeah.
or something
He said that
similar?
as well, but he said he had no hard feelings towards
But
anybody at
but they
WWE.
just brought him back on TV and they were setting him up for a feud with Big E. So if the explanation was we don't have anything creatively for you, Aleister Black, right after they brought you back on TV and set up a feud, a big feud with Big E, because Big E, they look like they have big singles plans for him right now.
Yeah.
So I don't buy that.
Mhm.
So okay, so let's go. Thoughts on Lana? Getting rid of Lana.
Lana, I'm not shocked about. That's something that because she wrestles awkwardly. I think she's a
Okay.
great person. Like I've interviewed her before at a red carpet. I think she's really cool, really nice.
Okay.
Very very great person, great dancer. I follow her on TikTok
Yeah.
and everything and Instagram. As a wrestler, it just as a valet, she's great. As a wrestler, she falls short to
This
me.
is not a knock on Lana, but
Mhm,
not everyone needs to be a wrestler
mhm.
or what have you. I thought when she was managing Rusev and Rusev was this big Russian monster, that was perfect for both. Like, that was a perfect role for her,
Right,
right?
right, and I agree with that.
So back in 2019, November 2019, Pro Wrestling Sheet reported that she signed a 5-year contract. So that's the last time she renewed.
Mhm.
So if she was early in to a pre-pandemic contract that she signed before the pandemic lockdowns, I can believe that she was getting paid so much by WWE that they just had to get rid of her because they're
Yeah.
trying to save money right now.
Yeah.
That I can buy into. I can't buy into. I mean, the creative thing. Okay, but what do you think about how they booked her getting put through tables every week?
I still think, and I know this is so far fetched,
Yeah.
but it feels like she was getting punished for Rusev and what he said afterwards and going to
That's
AEW.
pretty petty though, don't you think?
It is, but nothing. But with everything that's going on right now, it would not shock me. It would not
Okay.
shock me at all. If with any like right now with the way everything is going, it would not put it like I wouldn't, and I don't even think it's not from Vince McMahon at the top. It's everybody
Okay.
underneath, and I'm thinking that there's some things underneath that are
I
going.
mean, look, Rusev clearly loves the business. He's trying to have his own career. So I don't know. Lana, what do you think? People are saying Lana needs to join Miro in AEW, but what do you think?
It wouldn't be a bad idea. I think because they are right now setting him up as this monster again,
Yes.
as this brute, and I think if they brought her in, I think it'd be a good pop
Okay.
because she's very good at on
Here's
mic.
my thought on Lana. She doesn't even need. I don't think she even needs wrestling
No, oh, she
because
doesn't need it at all.
she could do. She could get her own reality show. She
Mhm.
could do YouTube stuff. She could get endorsement deals because it looked like she was already getting endorsement deals outside of WWE before the whole third party blow up.
Yeah, and I think she could do acting, do little
Yeah,
bits
she. I mean, she
YouTube.
was doing it a little bit. She was
Yeah,
doing a little bit before she was in. She was in. I think she had a minor role in what was Pitch Perfect. Yeah, as I recall.
yeah,
But I don't feel like she has to feel like she needs to go to AEW just because Miro, formerly Rusev, is there.
no,
Personally.
no, she doesn't need to. I mean, yeah, it'd be great, and it would be something that would probably sell.
Hmm.
But to be honest, she's talented. She could do other things. So I don't think that wrestling is something that she could only do.
I feel bad for her because I listen to her in interviews and I can tell she cares
Mhm.
and she's really trying. And
Yeah.
she was putting the training in. She was putting the work in with Natalia and Tyson Kidd and
Mhm.
training with them a lot. And I don't know. I just
Yeah. But like
eh.
sometimes there's just certain people who just aren't. It just isn't right for them.
Well, I think some wrestlers are better or excuse me, some wrestling personalities are
Mhm.
better as a valet,
Yeah.
are better as a manager, like
Hmm.
Jimmy Hart.
Yeah.
Jimmy Hart did not need to be a wrestler, but he's a WWE Hall of Famer nonetheless, and he
Yeah.
was the mouthpiece and the manager for a lot of great tag teams in wrestling,
Yeah.
and
And
a lot
every
of great
time you get that,
wrestlers in wrestling.
yeah, no, and every so often you get an exception like Diamond Dallas Page, where he started out as
Right,
a manager and then became a
right,
wrestler.
right, exactly.
So the
Okay,
one thing that is shocking to me, and I want to bring up because we're talking about the,
okay.
and I am pretty sure you're going to bring up Ruby Riot next.
Mhm.
SmackDown only has 7 women on the
I
SmackDown
saw that. I
roster.
saw that image.
Yeah, 7.
I want to look up that image.
That is crazy to
It,
me.
it's it's scary.
Yeah,
It's scary.
I mean,
What?
what
How
are
many
they?
women's tag teams do they even have?
I do not even know now because you used to have Ruby Riot and Liv Morgan, and then you had Natalia and Tamina.
Okay, I found that. I found that image. Okay, so we have Bianca
So that girl
Belair.
could
We have
share it.
We have Bianca Belair, the SmackDown champion,
Hmm.
the women's tag team champions, Natalya and Tamina, Sasha Banks, Bailey, Carmella, and Liv. So that's right. You only have 7. Now they do have a lot of women on NXT and NXT UK who are very good, who are very developed and very polished in the ring, I think. So there are women they could call up if they wanted. But it's just that if they call these women up from NXT, is it going to be a better situation for them?
I don't know, but they're gonna have. I wouldn't be shocked if they start moving some people up.
Okay, I
Like, don't
found that
think.
image. I found that image in
Okay.
case you want to
Cool.
share it. I'm going to send it
Yes,
to you.
definitely share it. Send it to me. Um, yeah, because that's the one thing that I'm kind of like wondering here. Because let me bring that image up. So yeah, 7 women on SmackDown.
That's
See,
scary, man.
that's why I say I have a
Because
feeling that.
SmackDown, you're on Fox.
Mhm.
Not only are you on the Fox network, to me, SmackDown is generally the better show.
Yeah, and they have a lot more pressure too because of the Fox deal. So they have to make it a good show. So that's why I wouldn't have been shocked if somebody was from Raw was taken out, but SmackDown, well, that one was.
I'm just glad Nikki. I mean, I don't want to say something like that because I like Nikki Cross. You
Yeah,
know.
don't jinx her. Don't jinx her. After the next match could be something different.
Ugh. I'm sorry I said that, Nikki Cross. I want you to keep it. Okay, so Ruby Riott.
Hmm.
Ruby Riott was great. She was a great worker. You
Yeah,
know,
I
they could have
agree.
done a. I think that. All right. No one take this the wrong way.
Hmm.
I think this is a great opportunity for Ruby Riott, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
The Riot Squad wasn't going anywhere.
Mm-mm.
They weren't doing anything with the Riot Squad. I like the Riot Squad. I like Ruby Riott. Ruby Riott is a great wrestler. And you can see like she had the support of the locker room. Like everyone was going crazy giving her their support after she got released. Nothing but great things to say. Someone like that is not going to have any trouble getting work once her non-compete is over. And I think people are going to be lining up to get her appearances, get her shows, get her booked once her non-compete period is over in September.
Yeah.
I think we are going to see her turn right around and on TV or get a new contract very soon.
Yeah. We just got a comment coming in from Bunda713. Wow, that's a lot of women overall. These cuts are not surprising. And when you look at it, and when you look at the
No,
picture, you look at the roster.
Bunda, you total, yeah,
Yeah.
but look at where top one is Raw, then SmackDown, then NXT and NXT UK, separate shows,
Yeah.
separate brands, really, separate rosters. Yeah, NXT has a healthy amount of talent. That's a healthy women. That to me, that's a healthy women's division
Hmm.
on NXT.
Yeah.
SmackDown is running dangerously low, and there's really no women's tag team right now because you got rid of the Iconics, who were a genuine tag team, and now you got rid of Ruby Riott, so you got rid of one half of the Riot Squad, who were a tag team. So you don't really have a true women's division anymore.
Exactly.
Excuse me, a women's tag team division. I'm sorry,
But
is what I meant.
let's play a little
Sure,
fictional GM right now.
sure.
If you had to put in some people into SmackDown in order to even it out,
Okay,
who out of who would you bring down besides moving them? Because I know you would
okay.
have to move some of them. Out of that NXT roster, who would you bring up at
Who would
this
I
moment?
bring up? Mia Yim.
Yeah.
Mia Yim's not even getting booked on TV.
Hmm.
And people were tweeting recently about getting her on TV.
Hmm.
Like it was trending. We want Mia Yim like on SmackDown,
Yeah.
basically. So Mia Yim would be a big one. Tony Storm.
Hmm.
Uh, Mercedes Martinez, and then probably Ember Moon, because
Mhm.
she was on the main roster before, but before she went back to NXT. If she's if she's down for that, but Mia Yim would be the big one. Mia Yim is an experienced wrestler, an experienced veteran, and she's great in the ring. What about you? Who would you want?
I would, to be honest, bring up Candice LeRae
Okay,
and break up that tag team because I think it's
okay,
okay, but not great.
okay.
Bring up what's her name? Chauncey Blackheart.
Shotzi. Okay,
Yeah, Chauncey Blackheart and Ember Moon. Bring both of them up.
okay,
And here's the kicker and I think Martinez definitely.
okay,
Here's the shocker that I think would which may happen and may come up fast.
okay,
Frankie Monet. She has a lot of experience already. I mean, the NXT. Usually they bring them into NXT just to get used to the system and the
mm-hmm.
WWE way of doing things.
Right,
But when you need a big talent, you need a big name. She is one of the.
right.
She's a really good wrestler. A
I
really good
I
wrestler.
agree. My only issue with Frankie Monet is this is her. She's trying to establish herself to the WWE crowd with it, basically a new gimmick and a new character.
Mm.
But this might NXT for some of these guys. This might be the ceiling of their WWE experience, you know.
Right.
And I want Frankie Monet to get the most out of her WWE experience before she goes to the main roster. Because how many times have we seen people go up to the main roster and then it's just sputtering or just a wet fart? You know what I mean? I don't want.
But but also
I'm
too
okay.
but also too when you say that,
Okay.
how much of it is the writing in the back? And how much is that it
A-
is the
Like nine.
pre-show
It's
writing?
like 90 these days. It's like 95%, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the big problem right now,
Mhm.
and this has been a problem in WWE for years. And I think this is a big reason why WWE is sort of in this state, in this stagnant state right now.
Mhm. We got a comment. If Raw and SmackDown have their own tag team divisions, I would scrap that. Maybe add new singles belts, women's IC belt, or something.
I mean, oh,
Because
for the
funny,
women's tag team,
yeah, for the women's tag team.
I mean, I think honestly, I feel like AEW could use a women's tag team division now more than WWE.
And
And this is not a knock on the women.
mhm,
To me, it's just a matter of the talent they have. And across Raw and SmackDown, it's just very thin.
mhm,
They have it makes more sense on NXT because they have a healthy amount of women and they have 2 hours every week, and there's a good way to do that. Okay. So you said Candice LeRae.
yeah,
My only thing is Candice LeRae, she's with her husband, Johnny Gargano, on NXT. They're part of a big angle and stable now with the way. And that would mean kind of breaking that up or at least taking her out of that equation, which I'm not saying you can't do, but if you're going to do that, you need to do big things with Candice LeRae.
yeah,
But I agree she's great. I mean, I think she's proven herself,
mhm,
with the heel turn
yeah.
for the way. And I think she's done a great job, and I think she'd be an asset to the main roster. You know what I mean?
And I think she could go for a women's championship belt
Okay.
easily, easily be in a match and actually be an entertaining match and be a fun match. She's very athletic.
Okay. Now, all right. Santana Garrett,
Mhm.
her getting cut. Now, this is not a not just preface. This is not a knock on Santana Garrett. I was not surprised like Santana Garrett was like on this list
Yeah,
because they weren't really doing anything with her. That was create. This was a case where I can believe creative has nothing for you.
yeah, I agree.
And that's not a knock on Santana Garrett. To me, most of this is usually a knock on WWE Creative and Vince McMahon heading things up. And whoever else. Okay, Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy was not a big name or a big star, but it's surprising to me nonetheless because they had him in big angles and big storylines for the last couple years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, didn't he beat Seth Rollins at one point?
Yep. They did have that when he was supposedly trying to get into that.
Yeah.
They placed him in that storyline with Rey Mysterio's daughter.
Yeah.
And
then they dropped that for no reason.
Yeah. Well, I think they had issues with it. Was one because I think she was 17.
She was 19, but
or 19.
Not that.
She
was young. Yes, people were complaining. People were complaining about that. But whatever.
There were an issue, but still, she looks a lot younger than 19. And he's 30.
Well, I didn't. You didn't have to book them falling in love. You know, you could have just booked. You could have just booked like Seth Rollins was being a jerk to Murphy. I'm like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of you, Rollins. I'm not gonna. Yeah. Rather than Aaliyah Mysterio feels bad for him and falls in love with him.
Yeah, but like him, like he was a good middle card type of guy. He was a cruiser. He was wrestling in the cruiserweights. He was a guy. Sometimes I think maybe they didn't know what to do with him next.
He's a good wrestler, though.
Yeah,
he was cruiserweight champion. He was tag team champion. Kind of reminds me in some ways of Brian Pillman. Versatile.
Yeah, and he's gonna do. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Impact and does really well.
Murphy is a guy who I think will do well outside of WWE because he is a great wrestler. And he's not, he's still under 35. He still has time to make some money in this business. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I think Impact or Ring of Honor would be a better fit for him.
Yeah, because I think he would really shine on either one of those brands.
They can use guys like him right now. You know what I mean?
I agree.
AEW, I think, is a little crowded, and they aren't. And Rampage won't even start until August.
Right. Isn't it funny how when you look at AEW and WWE, AEW like in 2019 when they first started Dynamite.
Right.
The women's roster was so weak. And it was hard to compete with WWE. Now it looks like the women's roster is getting stronger.
I think so.
Competing with WWE.
I think look. AEW still has work to do, I think, with their women's division, but I think the women's division now is in a better state than where it was a year ago, just for example.
Especially with bringing up the NWA women's wrestlers as well, giving them that opportunity. I mean, Thunder Rosa, for example, and I mean, I can't talk more about her because she's friggin' awesome, especially with that match with Brooke Burke
and Serena Deeb, who defended her NWA title at Double or Nothing. I think Murphy could go to Japan too, honestly. Yeah. Do you think Braun is going to continue wrestling, or do you think he'll retire?
Oh, he'll continue wrestling.
He once said, once I'm done in WWE, that's the day I put my boots away. He did say that once.
Well, that's what they say when they're.
That's true.
When the bills need to get paid, that's when things change.
But even if you're cut from WWE midway through a big contract, how can you be Braun Strowman making $1 million a year downside, $1 million guaranteed, and not be able to live comfortably off that unless you're like just way overspending?
You'll be surprised with some of these guys. They may not have set up anything just in case something were to happen or their career gets cut short.
I think one thing, like Kevin Nash, people talk about how Kevin Nash was always very thrifty with his money and always good at saving his money and pinching pennies. Like Kevin Nash would not like buy a lot of crazy toys and stuff like that.
Well, and that's why he's in the position that he is now. He's living comfortably.
Yeah.
He was able to get that surgery on his knees that repaired his knees and his legs, and was able
But
to.
yeah, he didn't go. Kevin Nash at 61, he's not like flat broke living in a ditch
No,
because he was wise with his money, basically.
exactly, exactly. So that's why I say like Britt Baker, everybody over there at AEW, I think it's something's growing, something new. I'm interested
Hmm.
to see what happens because right now is where the time. Like if you're AEW, you look at these women that they've released, like a Ruby Riot, and see like, hey, maybe it's something to add to the women's division.
Okay, so here's my next question for you
Hmm.
on all these roster cuts.
Okay.
If they're cutting Aleister Black, if they're cutting Braun Strowman, and they're cutting people like that, is anyone on the roster safe right now?
No,
Or is everyone up for grabs?
everyone's up. I think everyone is. There's a possibility for everyone to be let go. I think the only one that I think maybe safe right now would be Roman Reigns.
You know who?
Why did somebody get released? I see you
No,
looking at. Oh, okay.
I'm
I saw
just
you look down. I
look.
was like,
I'm not trying to jinx certain guys,
hmm.
but I'm worried that some guys, if they're going to cut someone on Braun Strowman's level,
Hmm.
there are guys who have maybe not been languishing, but not have been at the level they used to be. I'm worried they could cut next,
Yeah.
like Seth Rollins.
See, I was about to say that. I was about to say
And
his
I'm
name.
not and look, I am not saying I look, listen everybody, I'm not saying I want WWE to cut Seth Rollins. I'm saying no one is safe.
Hmm.
They just cut a former Universal Champion. So who is safe other than Roman Reigns?
Yeah. Or maybe even the Miz. But if the Miz ever were to get cut, I don't see him wrestling ever again. He won't go wrestle somewhere else. He's a WWE guy because that's the only thing he knows. I don't think the Miz could really survive outside of WWE.
I think what's helping the Miz is that he has all these outside projects that sort of m- make him an important asset to WWE right now that they would not cut just yet. Specifically, the Miz and Mrs. Reality Show. What was the Cannonball? I
Yeah.
don't know if they're doing anything with Cannonball right now, but he was like the co-host for that
Yeah. Yeah.
on USA. I'm really surprised Bray Wyatt has not been cut. I'm surprised because he is someone they fumbled with so much, and then they kind of did that whole mess at WrestleMania, and now it's like, what are they like? The Fiend is dead as a character, pretty much. The
Yeah.
Fiend, the Fiend, when they first started that character, was like so cool and unique, and now it's like there's nothing for the Fiend anymore,
Mhm.
pretty
They
much.
ruined him. They ruined like creative ruined that character. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bray's pissed that because that was a great story angle. It was different, and it became a joke. It literally became something where even for me, and I've talked to other people who watch wrestling, that it's kind of cringeworthy. Like, oh, again, just like for the WrestleMania, that thing that they did with Bray Wyatt and the Fiend, and with what's her name, uh,
Alexa,
Alexa Bliss.
yeah,
It was just cringeworthy. Like, you serious? They're going that route?
and now I have no idea what the whole deal is with Alexa and why.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if you hear
I don't know.
Alexa, which I hope doesn't happen, that Alexa Bliss gets released. Because
Okay,
where
so
is that storyline going?
at least, well, I guess like I don't know if this is what's going on, but I get did she stole all the Fiend's powers and now she's the dark evil monster, I
I
guess.
don't know. She's
I don't know.
playing a doll
Something like that.
with a doll with ugly teeth on it, and now Shayna Baszler freaking is getting involved with it and tying her to, you're just a stupid ugly doll. Well, yeah, look at it. But this is a whole stupid and ugly segment too. It's
Do
like
you,
I feel bad for Alexa Bliss because she's so much better than this, and this whole storyline is just
I feel bad for Shayna Baszler when she had to act like uh, her evil powers were causing her to like lose feeling in her legs in that
yeah,
Raw match. Okay, so here switching the gears a little bit, but still WWE related.
yeah.
So this came out late last week, and then it started growing early this week. So the word is from Wrestling Observer newsletter that WWE is working at a co-promotional deal with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So WWE could it involves WWE becoming the exclusive American partner for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And the talks have apparently been going on since March or early April. It's unknown how far along they are. The deal would include sending WWE talent, including top stars, to work in NJPW. What the hell is now? What the hell is going on with this? Because NJPW just started thawing its relationship with AEW,
Hmm.
and John Moxley has an NJPW title, and he's been defending it in the U.S. Against Kenta, against Yuji Nagata, and they finally fixed that relationship. And now NJPW looks like they're ready to get a deal done with WWE. What do you make of this, Mike?
I think Nick Khan saw what they were doing at AEW
Okay,
and we're looking at it, and finally somebody was taking AEW seriously and goes, "Hey,
okay.
this is actually not a bad idea. It's drawing crowds, ratings are going up for them. They're competing with us. What if we undermine them and try and get New Japan Pro Wrestling and try and get a deal with them?"
WWE years ago has worked with Japanese wrestling promotions, but it's been like we're talking late '80s, early '90s. We're
Yeah.
talking Hulkamania, Rock and Wrestling era, Ultimate Warrior era.
Hmm.
That's when they were doing co-promotional shows with Japan promotions and doing Japanese supercards. I don't know. Ever since that time, WWE would only like go to Japan and put on shows themselves. So, do you think this could even work in
I
2021,
don't think so.
2022?
I don't think so. The way the WWE has a product now,
Okay.
because they're still very kid friendly, and New Japan fits. To me, New Japan fits more with AEW. And the other con, which I think is the better con, Tony Khan,
Right.
and what he said and everything with his relationship with AEW and in New Japan Pro Wrestling, I think that works better. I think WWE is too controlling into what the storylines are and everything like that, and trying to make sure that it doesn't go too over the top and really show like wrestling as it is.
All right.
I don't think it would work that well.
To expand on what Michael is talking about, after this story started coming out, Tony Khan did a little promo with Tony Schiavone, and he said he name dropped Nick Khan, the WWE president, who's supposedly negotiating the New Japan deal. And he said, "There's only room for one Khan in the wrestling business, Nick, and it's me. It's Tony Khan, and it's not some con man from Connecticut. Have a fun show tonight, Nick. See you on Dynamite." Starting a few, he's starting a. We're gonna get a cage match between the battle of the cons, I
But
guess.
that's what I love about Tony Khan. He's not scared.
Okay.
You could tell he's a fan of wrestling straight up.
Okay.
And two, he's
Yes.
not scared to put himself into those situations if it means
Okay.
helping the company and if it means
Does
drawing
Nick Khan even care
Nick
that he
Khan.
brings his name up?
You know what? Nick Khan doesn't care.
Okay.
He's in Connecticut, in Stamford, Connecticut, sitting in
Yeah.
his office. I think he puts on wrestling maybe once every so often and maybe checks out AEW, but I don't think he's like really even paying
Okay.
attention to what Tony Khan does. But
All
we
right.
are,
All right.
and it's
Look,
entertaining.
I can understand the logic in doing a promo like that, as goofy as it was, but I don't know if that's gonna work for the New Japan situation with AEW and get New Japan to deal with them. Here's my problem with a potential WWE New Japan deal.
Mhm.
Since now we're worried, or I guess not really worried, but now we're wondering if WWE is going to sell the company. If they're going to sell the company and they're offloading talent, like what is the roster even going to look like 6 months to a year from now? Are they going to have major superstars to send over to Japan? Now, New Japan, if we ever get out of this pandemic, God willing, they're going to need they're going to probably need some big guys to send over because New Japan is in a bit of a crisis right now with the pandemic. It's undeniable. They could really use some big name talent from WWE, hypothetically, say next year, right?
Yeah.
But if they're unloading all these guys, what is this deal? What is the deal between New Japan and WWE going to look like a year from now? It's so questionable. I would like to see how all these things pan out before WWE were to make a deal with New Japan, but I have no idea.
Yeah. See, that's the one thing. Like now that I would love to talk to Jay White and get his
Right.
take on it. He's gonna be in our
Right.
area in Chatsworth on
Oh,
June 26th, signing autographs.
so
So
he was finally able to get out of Japan, huh?
exactly.
Because he
So
had COVID. He had to do the
yeah,
COVID
yeah,
quarantine.
yeah. So I would love to hear what some of these guys from New Japan Pro Wrestling think about this and about
Here's
New
my
Japan.
thing. Here's my thing. Ken Resnick, a former WWE broadcaster. WWE is not a wrestling company. They're an entertainment company. They're a media company.
Right.
As of right now, AEW is a wrestling company. New Japan is a wrestling company. And outside of getting some big name talents, I don't see there's much that WWE can offer New Japan the way they book their product. AEW, for better or worse, is a wrestling product right now, and they can benefit New Japan more because they can do co-promoted shows in the US. They can send guys over who may because they have a very bloated roster right now, so they can send guys over for them to use. There's greater possibilities New Japan working with AEW as an exclusive American partner. WWE is just like, I don't even know what's going on there right now because they're cutting people left and right, Mike.
Exactly. Exactly. It's an unstable company right now. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to go on. I don't know what they're going to do, but they're in flux.
Yeah, they're
And
very
I
much in
and I
flux right now.
and I wouldn't be surprised with these new releases that Fox is not questioning what's going on over there.
And AEW, they've finally got some momentum, even though they're getting preempted now due to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now that they have the fans back, they have momentum where WWE does not. They got ahead of the game. They got ahead of WWE on this touring game and the live fans.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you saw Double or Nothing this weekend on Sunday, it was packed. The fans were excited. It was the
Mm-hmm.
first time even Jericho when he walked out to the ring after the stadium stampede and hearing everybody singing. I mean, even
The
he
Judas,
freaking
yeah.
thought, yeah, even he was like, and even before, even on Dynamite the night before on that Friday, he came out and they had a good crowd, and he heard the singing that he was even like, wow, it's good
All
to
right.
see people
This
back.
is not a knock on the wrestlers, but empty arena wrestling, I find has been almost unwatchable.
Hmm.
It's been the Thunderdome, and the Thunderdome is even worse.
Yeah.
So the fact that AEW has packed houses again makes a huge difference.
Hmm.
It makes a huge difference in terms of the energy you get in the ring and the energy you get from watching a TV product. To see a packed house, to see live energetic fans, it's night and day. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, I agree. Completely agree. And if you're watching it on television and you're seeing that excitement,
Yeah.
you're waiting for AEW to come to your town, and I bet you they're going to be selling out tickets because people are seeing that and they're like, I want to be there. I want to see what this is like.
So their first touring show will be in July in
Mhm.
Miami, and they keep releasing more tickets for
Yeah.
Miami. So I assume they're selling well.
Hmm.
Okay, so now that we're kind of segueing into Double or Nothing,
Yeah.
I kind of want to go over that a little bit.
Definitely.
Any big takeaways from Double or Nothing for you first?
Britt Baker.
Yay!
Biggest and the most awesome takeaway because it was so cool to see her win the belt.
Yes. I
Yeah.
feel
And
like I
thank
feel
you.
like it was a real anointment for Britt Baker. I feel like it's a big turning point for the women's division. And I think Britt Baker is in a position where she is so over with the fans that she will just become a face just by being over, like
Yeah.
a Randy Orton or a Steve Austin, you know?
Hmm. I agree.
And look, I'm not saying she's at the same level they were at the height of their careers. I'm just saying those guys got so over that fans, they were the heels, they were the bad guys, that fans just started naturally liking them. Fans like cool heels, and
Yeah.
that can make them just naturally turn babyface because fans like them because they're cool.
Hmm. Yeah. And she's done an amazing job this year. As I keep mentioning every other week or every week, still my favorite match of this year.
Was the Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, still my favorite match of this year. She deserves this championship. I'm looking forward to seeing Dynamite tomorrow to see what happens and what the storyline is going to be.
Hmm.
It's going to be fun. I could say this second half of the year is going to be fun.
I hope so, and I really feel like Britt Baker winning the title is sort of like this. I feel like it's a start of something big
Yeah, I
for the
really do
women's
too.
division.
Yep.
Okay. So elsewhere, we had Adam Page beat Brian Cage in the
Hmm.
singles match. The Young Bucks retained after beating Eddie Kingston and John Moxley. Did you see that entrance with the wild thing with the full
Yep.
house? That was like,
That
just to
was
give you guys
crazy.
an example, to see like John Moxley come out to like that wild thing song with a packed house. It looks and just feels so much better. If you're a fan to watch that on TV, it still looks good.
Yeah.
That was that's like a top 5 entrance right there, you
Like
know?
I'm a grown ass man and I got excited when you see that
Yeah.
because it was like it's just all the
And if
crowd
you do
talking.
that to an empty arena, it's like
Yeah.
it's like you can hear a pin drop and it's just not fun.
Yeah.
The fans really make wrestling what it is.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's see what else. So the Young Bucks retained over Eddie Kingston and John Moxley. I think that's basically what we both agreed was going
Right.
to happen.
Right.
Okay, okay. So here we go. Jungle Boy won the Casino Battle Royal. He's the number 1 contender now. I'm glad Jungle Boy won
Yeah. Same
cuz
here.
I think Jungle Boy is a burgeoning star. And I think this is like giving him a big win like this and eliminating Christian Cage last. I think it puts him over, and it makes you're building Jungle Boy into a bigger star.
Hmm.
I don't think he's going to become world champion just yet, but he will be. I think he'll get there eventually.
I agree. This was my number 2 top moment of the night.
Was Jungle Boy
Was
winning?
Jungle Boy
Mm-hmm.
winning because it was cool to see him, and you could tell like
Because
this
we
guy
we
when he
thought Christian was going to win, right?
yeah, yeah, when he won, you could tell like it was a weight lifted
Okay.
off of his shoulders, and knowing that the next step is coming.
Yeah.
And
Uh, my understanding is he's wrestling Omega at the TV tapings this week.
mhm,
So the match will happen on Dynamite. I don't
right.
know if that's a great idea. I would maybe save it for a live show, that match.
I would. I think they all now from now on they're all live shows. Well, they're not live
No,
shows, but I'm
according to Dave Meltzer, they're taping like 3 hour like or 3 weeks worth of TV
yeah,
tomorrow. So I think tomorrow's Dynamite, the first one will be live. The next 3 weeks will be taped, is my understanding.
okay.
I
Well,
don't
it's
know if
probably
that's
better for me.
accurate, but That's what Meltzer reported.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I would save. Here's what I would do. I would save Jungle Boy for Miami.
yeah,
So then you're doing Omega versus Jungle Boy for the world title. The first live touring show in Miami, Florida. You'll have a packed. You're gonna have a packed house of new fans, not the Orlando Jacksonville crowd.
yeah,
How
yeah.
close is Jacksonville to Orlando? Is it, are
It's
they far?
literally about 3 hours.
Okay, so they're a little far apart, but
Yeah. Well, they're not too far. It's like I
okay,
think it's like from here to Las Vegas. I think is a little
okay,
bit.
that's like 4 hours. So you're doing it in front of the Miami crowd, and I think that'd be
Yeah.
good.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's see what else we had. Cody Rhodes beat Anthony Ogogo. Cody Rhodes is becoming a bit polarizing these days.
Yeah, yeah.
He won. See, okay, Miro defeated Lance Archer. I think we both predicted that, as I
Correct.
recall.
Hmm.
Our girl Britt Baker is now the women's champion.
Yep.
Beat Hikaru Shida. Darby Allin and Sting teamed up and beat Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Allin and Sting both won. I think we that's what we predicted as well.
Yes.
How
Yes.
do you any thoughts on Sting wrestling? Actually wrestling a match?
It wasn't that. I mean, it was concerned
Yeah.
because of what happened, but he looked fine. He
Okay.
looks like not old
It's
Sting,
not
but
something he can do too often though, because
yeah,
he is 62 years old and had a neck injury a few
exactly.
years ago. Okay, Kenny Omega won the triple threat three-way for the world title over Orange Cassidy and Pac. I think that's what we expected.
Yes.
And then Inner Circle won Stadium Stampede. So
Hmm.
Inner Circle will be able to stay together, and Inner Circle will not have to break up after beating Pinnacle in the Stadium Stampede. So looks like a good show. Apparently, it did over 120,000 pay-per-view buys, according to Meltzer on Observer Radio, and they had a sold-out crowd, over 5,000 people. So things, AEW's got some momentum in their corner right now.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what those movie theater attendance was like because I know they were showing it at a
I
movie
would have
theater.
gone, but I had work that evening, so I
Yeah,
couldn't.
yeah. I was at the casino this Sunday, so I decided to go.
Yeah, I
You
would,
know,
provided timing works out, I would definitely try that, especially
yeah. But I love
no,
the
not
fact that YouTube really does help in being able to catch up with everything.
in Twitter because they put tons of AEW just releases tons of clips from
Yeah,
everything on Twitter,
yeah.
so that helped. Like that's how I saw that the Moxley entrance, and
Hmm.
it made.
Same
I
here.
mean, just watching it on Twitter gave me goosebumps. You know.
Well, that's what got me is the fact that like I was watching it on Instagram and I was watching
Hmm.
it on Twitter and I was like getting excited over it.
Yeah.
I was
So
really getting excited over it.
hopefully they can do. Once we're getting better in LA, they can maybe. I think I think AEW could sell out their first show at Staples.
Oh, hell yeah. I know they can because I would be the first one in line to buy tickets.
They should. They
Not
should.
like not like we stand in line to buy tickets anymore.
Yeah, they should.
But
Hey, AEW, in case you're watching, wink, wink, wink.
exactly, we would
AEW
love
interns.
because we love AEW.
Yes.
We support AEW,
Yeah.
and also right down the street is Republic of Lucha,
Yeah.
owned by freaking Ray Phoenix and Penta. So come on.
Cody Rhodes also hinted about adding. He didn't say it, but he seems to be hinting they're going to add like a trios title for AEW. I think that'd be a good idea because
It'd be different.
they have a lot of stables,
Yeah,
a
it'd be
lot of
different.
factions. ROH has a trios title. New Japan has a 6-man title. WCW back in the early 90s
Hmm.
had a 6-man tag team
Yeah,
title. So I would not be opposed to that, provided they keep booking people and they use those teams
I
because they
agree.
do have a lot of tag teams and a lot of stables in AEW right now. So
That is very true. Very true. Oh, shoot! What a good show. Like,
yeah, So there's a lot going on right now.
Mhm.
WWE is releasing half the roster for
Exactly.
budget cuts. AEW, you know, they're doing packed houses again. They're
Mhm.
going to be going on tour starting next month, and so is WWE.
Yeah.
WWE is kicking off a 25 city tour, basically a week after AEW is, and they're announcing, like they've announced Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland, Ohio. I think Minneapolis, Minnesota, and who else?
Mhm.
They got. I mean, they're doing a lot of. They've got July booked, so they're both doing a lot.
Yeah. And SummerSlam announcement on for Saturday.
Okay, so here we go. So Money in the Bank, July 18th in Fort Worth.
Mhm.
July 19th, Raw, American Airlines Center, and so they're going to Texas. They're going. They're going to be going all over the country this summer, provided things keep improving with
Yeah.
the pandemic. So that will that will help WWE a lot.
I agree.
I also read, this was from Fightful. WWE is asking wrestlers to take part in practice sessions and training sessions at the Performance Center to get themselves warmed up and ready for the summer touring. Do you think
Mhm.
that makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense because it's a different it has to be a different training schedule.
Let's see.
And even Aleister Black was saying, I think during the Twitch stream, and how much like people don't realize how much work it
Hmm.
is and how much time you have to put in and what your diet is while you're on the road.
Oh yeah.
Is that it's really
Yeah.
different.
So basically, these training sessions are to get people ready to get the roster ready for returning to the road. But is how much of a roster is going to be left in a few weeks if they keep this up?
Well, when we only have 10 people, it makes the trainings very easy.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
I'll be curious to see what NXT does. Do you think NXT will want to tour, or you think they'll stay at the Capitol Wrestling Center?
To be honest, for a long time, I thought it was a good idea to have NXT touring and to have NXT in that maybe not in the bigger arenas,
Right.
but like instead of like let's go for here in LA. Instead of Staples Center, maybe like the Galen Center,
Or the
but
Walter
not out
Pyramid,
there.
or the Walter Pyramid.
Yeah, or even in Ontario, the Toyota Arena,
Right.
the smaller venues where something like NXT would be you're gonna sell it out
I
and
think
do something like that.
I think what happened was, though, is NXT TV started like a f- basically a few months before the pandemic lockdown started.
Yeah.
So I think they were still at Full Sail University at the time.
Hmm.
So I think the pandemic sort of just kind of just shut everything down, forced them into the Performance Center for a while. So now I think they were going to tour, though. I think there was talk of them leaving Full Sail, but then the pandemic sort of took that situation out of their hands.
Hmm.
So I agree with you, though. I think they could. I think they could do those smaller arenas. Now, what's going on SmackDown this week?
Do they have people to wrestle this weekend?
I think they do.
Okay.
I think they do. So let's see. So they didn't. Okay. So more cities: Minneapolis, Kansas City, Missouri, and Cleveland, Ohio. So those are the next. So they're fully booked in July for Raw and SmackDown. Now I was trying to look up. Okay, so here's what we have for SmackDown this week. So Street Profits versus, I think, the Usos for the tag team titles. And then
I thought it
oh,
was
I don't.
to see who fights for the tag team title.
No. Excuse me. Uh,
Oh no, it's Rey
it's Ray and
Mysterio.
Dominic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's Ray and Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, you're a week behind.
SmackDown. Yeah, SmackDown tag team titles versus the Usos, because the Usos beat the Street Profits.
Hmm.
Okay, and then Apollo Crews is defending the inner. Oh, Apollo Crews versus Kevin Owens. So we do have some people left in WWE to wrestle.
Yeah.
So those are some good those are good matches. Okay, and Dynamite is tomorrow.
Yeah, but something tells me that was it Jey Uso and Jimmy?
Yeah.
I think Jay's gonna turn on Jimmy.
Yeah, because they're doing the whole head of the table thing.
Exactly. And I think that's what's gonna happen, and that's gonna start setting up that storyline.
Okay, so and then Dynamite is still on tomorrow because they're still getting preempted due to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Nick Comoroto versus Dustin Rhodes in a bull rope match. Nice tribute to Dusty there. Jungle Boy and Christian Cage versus Private Party. Young Bucks and versus Pac and Penta El Zero. So Young Bucks versus Death Triangle. Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson versus QT Marshall and Anthony Ogogo. Here we go. Mark Henry. Mark Henry just signed with AEW.
Yep.
And the Britt Baker Championship Celebration. Huzzah. Mark Henry is now in AEW. What do you...
I love the memes that have been going around saying that Randy Orton has sent another person to AEW.
That's mean.
Funny. It's mean, but it's like everybody that he had last year or the last 2 years has gone after.
Yeah.
Have all left AEW.
Does that mean Matt Riddle will be next after he turns on him?
I think he's safe, but I think another legend maybe.
Well, Matt Riddle, he re-upped, I think, during the pandemic and signed a big money contract, I think. So I wonder if they're going to get buyer's remorse on Matt Riddle.
Doesn't mean anything. Everything is up in the air.
Here's the look, these guys are independent contractors, Mike. They can fire them whenever they want.
Yeah, exactly.
And they do it.
That's why I say they're
Braun.
If I'm a wrestler with WWE right now, I'd be very cautious on what I spend my money on. Save a lot until this is all over. And if you're staying, great. Don't
make big purchases. Don't make big purchases right now.
Don't decide to buy that new car, the new house. Be very, very thrifty right now because
don't buy the Tesla rocket ship.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Exactly. Because you don't know if Braun Strowman could be let go, anybody could be let go.
Eric and Ivar,
Mm-hmm.
The 205 Live superstars.
Yeah.
They still have 205 Live in the cruiserweight division for now, but who knows? Exactly. I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying it's not like WWE does a good job with the cruiserweight division.
No.
I'm just saying.
No. And another thing before we were talking about this, what did you think of the new announcer for Raw?
Oh, Jimmy Smith.
Yeah.
I think the praise he was getting was so overblown to me because I think the bar on Raw announcing is so low that because Jimmy Smith wasn't terrible, which he wasn't, like people think he's like an A+ announcer, which he wasn't. I think so. Jimmy Smith was Adnan Virk's replacement on Monday Night Raw. I thought he's supposed to be the lead play-by-play announcer. He wasn't doing play-by-play. He was doing color commentary. Yeah. He's been a color commentator his entire broadcasting career, as far as I know. I've never heard Jimmy Smith doing play-by-play. My problem on Monday was it sounded like Corey Graves was doing most of the work, and Smith sounded similar, and then Byron Saxton sounded similar. They don't need 3 guys in that booth. It's too crowded. And it sounds like no one could finish a complete thought because they're all like trying to talk at the same time.
Yeah. I agree.
That was my thought. That was my thought on Monday. And secondly, I think he did a good job actually calling some of the moves. He clearly understood what he was watching some of the time. But he wasn't really doing the play-by-play. Like if you're going to be the play-by-play commentator, you need to like guide the action. You need to guide the match, guide the storyline. It was really Corey Graves doing most of that for most of the night. So I don't know what they're doing with Jimmy Smith.
Yeah. Over under. Would he last
Oh,
longer than what's his name? I already forgot about him.
Adnan Virk. I
Yeah.
think he will last. Based on this Monday, I think he will last a little longer.
Okay.
We'll see how long he lasts, though.
Yeah.
They got
Will he make it to the road. Will he make it to go on the road?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, I
Because
think he
something
will.
to
Yes.
me, I think no.
Okay.
I'm just saying because
Okay.
he needs to show
So
me some more.
so July 16th.
Mhm.
So July 16th is when they're going back on the road with SmackDown.
Yep.
So we'll see so come July 16th or whenever, we'll see where Jimmy Smith is,
Yeah.
basically. But I
So
think he
July
will.
19th would be the date that first Monday Night
I
Raw.
think he will because he at least has broadcasting experience doing big like combat sports events on the road.
Yeah.
So he does have that working in his corner. So that's my prediction, but you could be right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this was just the first night. We'll see how he does the next couple nights
Yeah.
because some people weren't that negative on Adnan Virk after his first couple shows, but
But also
after
too, they're going on the road too. Is he willing to be on the road?
oh, I think so because I mean he signed the contract, so I think he had to be aware that's something that's happening in the next couple months. So they're going to be going full steam ahead.
Yeah.
So and he just got promoted, so I would assume, but who knows? I don't know what he's truly thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think those are kind of the major items to go
Yep.
over this week. Any final thoughts on your part?
All I say is let's see what happens next week. Because it is possible, and
There's
anything's possible.
I
That
mean, I feel bad. I feel bad for the people who lost their jobs, but there's just been so much insanity. I can't even wrap my head around it, Mike.
yeah, me neither. It's like yesterday just shocked me because I was just like, "You're kidding me." More releases.
I just don't ever remember a guy Strowman's level just
Mhm.
getting cut like that. It's
Exactly.
like 10 years ago that would have been unheard of.
Yeah.
Cuz cuz again, after WrestleMania, you talk about spring cleaning, Strowman was safely in the title picture right after WrestleMania. So there you
I,
go.
I agree.
Okay.
Cool. And everybody, like, if you get a chance, if you live here in LA, go check out Republic of Lucha because I went. They have some great stuff. They have some great shirts over there right now too. With they had a signing with Thunder Rosa, and they have an awesome shirt with Ray Phoenix, Benta, and Thunder Rosa on it that looks really cool. And I think you should go check it out because it's great. And we want to thank our partners at Tascam as well who provide the audio equipment.
And AEW wink.
Exactly. Any of your talent, we would
California reopens in June. Let's
exactly June 15th.
start
Let's
talking.
start booking a date for 2022 because
I
people
will I will talk to Staples Center on your behalf.
yeah,
I don't know anyone there, but Mike, you probably know some people at Staples, right?
I think I still may know some people. I don't know what happened with this
You
pandemic. A
can
lot of
you can
people were
MC. You can MC.
hey, I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I'll be cool. I'll need to get into shape. Just have to fit the suit, and there you go. But hey, man, another great week, another great show.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, where could they find you, and what do you have going on?
Okay, so go
411 Main?
to 411 Mania. You can check me out on Twitter at WheelJack83. I had quite a few new reviews come out. Let's see. Have Cruella, A Quiet Place, and Fast 9. So you can check out my new movie reviews for all those new movies at 411mania.com. You can check out the 411 Wrestling Interviews podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Stitcher. And yeah, so mainly 411 Mania, Twitter at WillJack83. Once again, this is the J to the E to the double F free. I am Jeffrey Harris, and you've been listening to This Week in Wrestling.
Yep, and I have We actually tomorrow we have an interview with Sergio Mendez. This is not sports or wrestling related, but we have a wrestle. I did an interview today with Sergio Mendez. The video is coming out tomorrow. Very interesting story if you're into and since we are in the sports realm here, next week we're going to be at SoFi Stadium. The Rams are having an open workout. So we're going to be our first steps in the fully constructed SoFi Stadium, home of WrestleMania in 2023.
It was supposed to be WrestleMania
Yeah, but
this year.
we we got pushed
Yeah.
thanks COVID. But we're gonna get in there. We're gonna take a look. We're gonna take some pictures. Gonna get some video. So definitely we'll talk about that in the future show, about the venue and about a WrestleMania being there. But thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Tell your friends. Thumbs up. We got one episode of the podcast up already on Anchor. We have more coming through. It's taking a little bit of time. I'm really sorry, everybody, but we're gonna get everything up as soon as possible. But thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week on This Week in Pro Wrestling. Have a good weekend.